lose it. We ain't even
We're
started.
live.
We're
Oh,
5
shit.
seconds into live, and I got him
Oh my
cracked up.
God. Welcome, everybody, to Vibe Time with Jerry. This is Jerry. That's asshole at the end.
Hi. That was
How's
way
everybody
too
doing
good.
tonight? Oh my God. I don't know how I get stuck with you. I really don't. Such a...
You invited
You're so
me.
believable, but you're such a prick at the same time. I just...
I'm sorry. Fuck. I should have used my Q-tips. I must have left some moisture in there. What?
Nothing. Ugh. Hi, everybody.
You are an asshole, Dennis.
Stop.
Priceless.
Yes, very. Hope everybody's doing good tonight in this weather. I don't know about where you're at, but we have ice and snow mixed together. It's like Virginia's bipolar. I don't know.
We just got rain down here.
That's all we got. Well,
No.
I take that back. It started this morning. We had some snow flurries. Then we had some sleet. And then we got rain and more rain.
See you later, Jerry.
Bye, Jerry. So, Dave, oh, look, she's back.
You were saying?
You
were getting ready to say?
I was just going to say, so now that the slacker part of the show is gone, we can actually have a good show, but you came back, so I couldn't say it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
We can always boot her off.
You wouldn't. Well, yeah, you would. Never mind. Don't do that. Well, I guess you can make it the David and Dennis show and just, get rid of you.
Yes.
I understand.
D&D Paranormal.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of D&W Moisture Hour.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with you clowns. You keep inviting me back. I keep taking the show straight to the bottom end of the gutter. And you go, come on back and join us again.
Well, yeah. I have questions since we're on here.
Your therapist couldn't answer them?
I'm just going to get right into everything. Yes, you're going to answer them because it's the cabin. It's equipment related things, but you don't have any equipment from it's Boost Paranormal, right?
Yeah.
So yesterday, David had bought, when we did our last paranormal roundtable, he had got the lantern from the cabin on 360 because Dennis has different pieces of equipment that he's selling there, but that's made from Boost Paranormal, right? Right. So
yeah, I am as far as I know, the only retail location for Boost Paranormal products.
Okay. That's because I wasn't really clear on my post yesterday, so I know that there's people out there that want equipment all the time, and those lanterns are pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like one of the coolest parts of it, I think anyway, is the fact that you can change the type of lighting output and vary the intensity of the light.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was looking at when I was looking at it.
That's what I was looking at when I was looking at it. Okay.
She was looking at that while she was looking at it when she was looking at it to buy it and look at it.
Yeah, it was really,
I
really
followed
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Is it fucking scary that I understood what she was saying?
I was getting ready to say the same damn thing.
Oh, shit. I still have to wonder why.
But you had REM pods there too. Let me just, before you bash me, because that's what you're getting ready to fucking do.
I wouldn't do such a thing. Jerry, we love you. I wouldn't bash you. I would poke fun at you in a heartbeat. But
Yes, of course. I'm used to that. I'm used to that. So the REM pods, you got those there too. Are those two different types of REM pod, or were they all the same? I don't remember now.
Well, so I'm trying to remember what components or what products he left with me the last time that he brought merchandise to me. And I don't know if he's in here. I'd love to have him join us. If I can reach him, I would. But I believe he left me 360 static detectors. And there's two different ones of that. There's a 16 light and a 20 light. And they have the
That's
LEDs around the top. And I think he left me a couple of the EMF detectors also that have 12 or 16 LEDs in the top, but I don't remember exactly what I have on the shelf right now.
right. Okay. I was trying to remember everything from last time when we were there doing the show.
Yeah, and there's so many different. So Ron Wood, who owns Booze Paranormal and
Hey,
creates
Ronnie.
these products, makes so many different items, and I mean they're fantastic items. He gives you a warranty on all of them. They're protected, and they hold up very well. So I've got like each one is serial numbered,
Hey, Ronnie.
8 sold. Yeah, so Ronnie's got both of his
He's got
static
both.
detectors and a candle. And hey, Daryl. Hey, Ronnie. But yeah, he's also got, which I took with me to. So last weekend, Saturday night, I went to Belgrove Plantation and hung out with
Hey,
FPRI,
Daryl.
which is John Sullivan, Fredericksburg Paranormal Research Investigators. We had a great time. I absolutely love Belgrove. It's a fantastic location. If you haven't had the chance to book it and investigate it, I highly recommend it. But he's got a couple of different pieces, and I took it's called a stogie pod, and it looks like an ashtray with an old fat stogie in it, and it's an EMF sensor. So anything gets near at the tip of the cigar will light up. I'm going to beat you to it, David. Just the tip will light up. But it's a pretty cool device. I set it up in the attic in the doorway, and I felt like the last time I was there, I felt like I got charged from this little cubbyhole doorway. So I set the stogie pod in that doorway, and I got a couple of flashes off of it, and there's nothing up there to trigger EMF. So that was pretty cool. He also he's calling it the trip rope, and it is a sonar rope that I think is like 5 or 6 feet long. Sonar sensor goes out, and you can watch a little tracer light shoot out from the sensing unit, and it will mark where anything breaks that sonar and returns signal to it, and then light up going to that point.
Didn't you show that to me at your open house?
I did. So we were using it. Martha, one of my volunteers at the cabin, and one of my team members with Crop, she went up with me, and we were sitting in, I want to say it's called the Taylor Suite. Well, she was sitting over towards this little cut through that goes into the bathroom, like Jack and Jill bathroom, and then there's the bedroom on the other side. She was sitting in a chair. There's a fireplace beside her chair, and then the doorway right behind her. And I set this up aimed at that doorway. And she wasn't looking at the trip rope behind her, but she's like, all right, it just got super cold right here beside me. And sure enough, the trip rope showed something had stopped the signal and triggered pretty much right behind her, and then came in beside her. So that was pretty damn cool. Not just one time, but 3 separate times, 4 times, it indicated that something was right there at her. So that was pretty damn cool. But if you get a chance to look at Boo's Paranormal equipment, man, go grab some. Go check it out. It's worth every penny.
How much are the ropes? I can't remember.
Well, the rope right now is still in beta.
I got you.
So
That's
we're
right.
trying to figure out, well, he's trying to figure out, what do I need to change it? What do I need to do different to it? How can I make it better? which that's one of the fascinating things to me is he is constantly trying to improve everything. But I think the single directive is like 140, 160 maybe. And then the bi-directional, I'm not sure, but he can set it up to where it has sensors coming out both sides and a light rail or light strip going out both directions. So he's working on that.
Cool.
And then you two butt clowns need to join me, and we need to go check out Daryl's location. Daryl, yeah. So Daryl Paulette there is, I don't know, I'm using this term loosely. He's friends with Ronnie Rickard, which, that's a good dude. But he's also friends with Ronnie Anderson that I really got to question what the fuck's wrong with him, but we'll keep that on the DL.
Yeah.
But he has a location that we were talking about at Hanover Tavern, and I think it'll be really cool. I think it's going to be a fantastic location to check out. There's several buildings, and you need to get Daryl on the show and let him talk about his location.
Okay.
Daryl, in the comments, if you would, sir, please type the name of your location so they can at least get a little bit of info on it. But I think the village is going to be really cool to check out. But you guys need to bring him on the show sometime and talk to him.
Works for me.
And then, of course, Ronnie Anderson there with Bedford Paranormal. Those two, Daryl and Ronnie, work together a lot. As far as I understand, Daryl is part of Ronnie's team, which is Bedford Paranormal. Just fucking genuinely good people. They're down to earth. Great to talk to. And if you can go check out the village with them, that would be fantastic too. We'll have to make a night of it and see if we can get a fire pit going.
That sounds like fun.
But yeah, Ronnie says prices are reasonable, equipment's very good. He's not kidding. Yeah, I know, Ronnie. It's pathetic. Her crunching over there. It sounds like she's eating fucking rocks or something.
I'm eating my Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were supposed to eat those in the shower. That's a shower snack is what I thought.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Tina.
Hey, Tina.
And just so you know, Tina, we're picking mercilessly on your sister tonight. Welcome to the party. Feel free to join in. Give us some secrets from her childhood.
Don't you dare.
I will protect you, Tina.
No, he won't.
This is too fun.
So fucking lie.
I will. I promise.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Dave.
Next time you talk to the gentleman at Boo's Paranormal,
Yes.
see if he's got a REM pod, but you can pull the antenna out and plug a cable into it, like a 3mm jack.
Yeah.
Plug that into it.
Jack.
Yeah. Plug that into it with an alligator clip on the other end that you can use that for trigger objects.
I'm sure if he doesn't have it, he can make it. It's not very difficult to make that change, but that is an awesome idea. So I have a couple of the Wraith pods, which were made by a gentleman named Ian for Wraith chasers. And I unplugged the antenna from those. I think I've got about an 8-inch long wire that goes to a small alligator clip. And I connected all kinds of things. Hey, Mr. Savage. But yeah, Ronnie Anderson's got the right idea, man. If Ron don't have it, he can make it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because I've got one, but it's on its last legs. It's falling apart. It's already been repaired once.
Well, I'm sure Ron can rebuild it for you. Like like I showed him my original Paranologies periscope, and he's like, "Yeah, shit, that's no problem, man. I can get you some new rods. We'll glue it in. We'll get the battery case." Which, if anybody here has ever owned a piece of Paranologies equipment, you know the fucking battery case is going to fall off of it within a week.
That's where I got mine, was Paranologies.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy he cut every corner he could. I mean, his technology was good, but his builds were shit. And then his customer service went to shit. And if you send anything back to him to get it repaired, you might as well just throw it in the trash can, because it's about the equivalent. You're not going to see it again.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
So,
Is
but
that who made those light up dowsing rods?
No, those were made by North Canton Paranormal Detectives.
I gotcha. Okay.
That's Jeff Eastman, and those are pretty damn cool. I like those.
Mhm.
They swing wonderfully. They're quite bright.
Yeah.
The EL cord that runs the length of them is very tiny. So those are a nice product, along with the original tripwire, and that comes from North Canton Paranormal Detectives also.
Gotcha.
Which I do have right now. I have 2 tripwires in the merchandise case at the cabin. They're both 12 foot and they're both 225. So everybody else is asking like 240 for them.
What's the difference between the tripwire and then that sonar thing that you were talking about?
So the tripwire from North Canton Paranormal Detectives, that's the one with all the little pods in it all the way down the length. Those are EMF sensors.
Okay.
So they're basically like a little pod. They're not much bigger than this battery, and they work basically on the same principle as a K2 meter. Each one is its own little sensor and meter. Whereas the trip rope, which is the one that Ron Wood put together, that one works on sonar that runs the length of the cord laying on the floor.
Okay.
And then the cord has all the little LEDs that go down to show you where something interfered in that sonar send.
Gotcha.
Shayla got a device, I think from Ghost Gear Tech. You can use it as a REM proximity sensor or hang it on a door. Yeah, and there are so many cool ideas on monitoring EMF. But my question has to come in as far as monitoring EMF. Is that the defining factor of interacting with spirit? We don't know. You know, like I've said 1,000 times, we don't know if spirit moves through electromagnetic or static field. So we monitor everything we can just to see what the hell we do. But being able, like we had one of the objects that you could hang on the door, and that was pretty cool. It didn't go off, but the idea of if something on the other side were to grab the door handle, that is an EMF trigger, I guess, or EMF, something that, you know, like spirit, if it manifests or if it exudes EMF, it would have triggered that device on the doorknob. We didn't have it go off, but it would have been really cool. Now, the sonar rope, Ronnie, that is cool as shit. And I'm going to have to, I have the single directional one now, and I'm going to have to buy the bi-directional one simply because it's so much longer. And it's limited kind of to floor surface. If you have
I knew you were bi.
in the floor, you know, I mean, actually, I'm trisexual, but I'll try anything sexual. It's only kinky the first time. See, thought you were going to get me, and we fucked her up. Keep playing games. I keep telling you. I'm quick.
Oh my God. Can we keep it decent, people, for one night?
The only way that's happening is if I click on this X.
Jesus.
But yeah, so the idea is like, well, I set it up. I set the sonar trip rope at Bell Grove, and I tried to run it through a doorway kind of on an angle. The only problem was the doorway itself interfered with it, so it constantly triggered at that line. But other than that, it was like where I was able to lay it out straight, it worked great. But as you know, sonar has to have that down and back return, and in the doorway, it kept getting interfered. So,
Oh, that sounds interesting. John
um,
said send him the link on that one. It sounds interesting.
I don't even know if there is a link. John,
Yeah,
go check out Boo's Paranormal.
yeah.
BOO.
I was on their website last night, and they didn't have the rope on there.
No, like I said, it's still in beta testing. I know myself, Trent Overton, and I'm not sure who else has one. I think John Sullivan has one. But the idea is, here's this product. Go test it. Tell me what you would change. Tell me how you would like to see it improve. Tell me what you would like to see it able to do. And we'll make the improvements before I do the final release on it, which I think is a magnificent way to do business,
Oh,
because it's
definitely.
not just his idea. It's
Right.
people that are in the field that do this shit. And, we've all had a piece of equipment that we go, man, if only it had, like your
Right.
idea with being able to take the antenna out and plug in a jumper lead. Sell it with the little short extendable antenna and sell it with a 6 or 8 inch jumper lead. That would be
Mm-hmm.
great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, that's what mine's got. It's about between 8 and 12 inch lead with alligator clip on the end, and I clip to a pizza pan. It
Yeah,
turns that pizza pan into the antenna, and I'll put my trigger object on there.
yeah. And I've seen an older, maybe that large little silver tea tray,
Mm-hmm.
put bills on it, put cigars, tobacco, whatever on it. It makes that whole tray the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great idea. Um, and I do that. I've got a Bowie knife that I carry that was gifted to me by Brandon over at Haunted Nights, Brandon, the ghost guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he gifted me this Bowie knife that has a Confederate flag on one side, and I forget what's on the other side. But I've used it many nights at the cabin as a trigger object. And I'm like, hey, if you want, here's this. Here is, and of course I kind of bullshit him. Here is General Lee's um, Bowie knife. You're welcome to take this and go into battle. And I've watched that thing trigger many times. Bye, Jerry.
Nice seeing you.
All right, man. She's gone now. We can start talking about her. So there was a secret that, oh, shit. But yeah, it is a cool thought. Now, the little short lead that I have with mine is only, I think, 4 to 6 inches, and it's a tiny alligator clip. So it needs to
Mm-hmm.
be like a mid-sized alligator clip so you can hook on a little bit larger objects,
Yeah.
and definitely a little bit longer lead. And I would use a high quality wire from the antenna point,
Mm-hmm.
the mini jack to the clip.
Right.
And that way it's not losing so much in between A and B. Damn it, Coca-Cola. Excuse me, just a little gassy. But I mean, there's so many things that you can do in this field that most people don't think about. And that was, well, the original tripwire from North Canton Paranormal Detectives. Um, that was my idea 5 years ago. I sat with Jeff Eastman and in messaging, of course, and I drew my idea for it and everything else. I don't know how to build this shit. And at
Hello,
that time, I didn't
Kenny.
know Run. So I was sending him ideas and I went, hey, here's what I want to see done. And he was able to put it through his electronic engineers and everything and actually make it into reality. And then all of a sudden that idea blew up. But I've got a couple of more. Hey, Kimmy, I've got a couple of more ideas I've already spoken to Ron about over at Booze Paranormal, and hopefully we can make them come to fruition. And we'll have some really cool instrumentation out. But, you know, the whole thing about this field is if you don't think outside the box, we're
Right.
going to stagnate and we're not going to
Mhm.
learn anything new about the field. I mean, I've been doing it 25 years. And, you know, I am not a fan of, and I know there's going to be people bash me. I don't give two shits. Pay my bills, and then I care if you bash me or not. But any of the apps that have a word database, you can throw every last one of them in the fucking trash as far as I'm concerned.
100% agree.
Uh, you know, I can sit in my living room and I can talk to my wife about Ferraris, and Alexa's sitting over there and hears everything I'm talking about. Next thing I know, I'm scrolling Facebook and it's fucking Ferrari ads up my wazoo. Well, those apps, in my opinion, are probably doing the same thing.
Hmm.
You know, if I fired that app up in the most wonderful, calm, serene environment out in the middle of a sunflower field, it's still going to give me macabre shit. Why? Because that's what's in its database. So those apps, as far as I'm concerned, are all garbage. I don't care who designed it. I don't care who loaded the database. You're not going to find words like butterfly and peaceful. You're going to find demon and just, it's bullshit.
Yeah. I used to have a Ovulus. There's a 2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah. And it has a
And
database, 2,500 words.
yeah, and I must have had a spirit named Murphy following me around everywhere I went because
Because everywhere it was Murphy.
it didn't matter where I was in the Manor House on the USS North Carolina in
Yeah, you could go to
Moundsville. Murphy
you
was
could
there.
go to the moon and fucking Murphy's hanging outside the shuttle.
Yep.
Um, Tommy, I'll tell you like I just said. Any of those apps that have a word database, it's my belief. If they have a word database, they're trash.
Yep.
They are um, for John and Jane Doe that don't really know anything about paranormal investigating and they want the ooh and ah, or the ghost hunter that wants to do sensational shit. You know, if you watch the biggest majority of us that are seasoned investigators and we're sitting in a nice quiet room and all of a sudden from off to the side you hear, what was that? But if you watch TV, they're like, oh, sit the fuck down, man. I'm not after this for entertainment value. I don't need ratings and I don't need commercials. But they
Right.
all act like that because television is
Yes.
one
Right.
purpose: entertainment and monetary value.
Yep.
So that's the big difference between TV. Those apps, they can go, oh my God, that thing said demon. But if you're out in the middle of a sunflower field, what are the odds there's a damn demon? But that thing has its specific shit. And that's what it's going to do. It's just for sensationalism.
And I have to bite my tongue. Now, if somebody asks me, I'll go my honest opinion. But if they don't ask me, I don't say nothing. But I get the tourists coming all the time. They've got Ghost Radar downloaded on their phone.
Yeah. Standing right beside me.
Yeah.
Really? We'll ask it to get on its knees and blow you. See if you feel anything.
Yeah, Ronnie said, what I can't stand is doing a group investigation and 5 people have apps running, floods the area too much.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
But I liked necrophonics.
And necrophonics would be fantastic if it was legitimate.
But I liked it.
How often, though, did it give you relevant shit that you could actually base anything on?
Well,
0.5% of the time?
I would say 0.5%.
Yeah, exactly.
Still like it though.
And that doesn't mean it's worth a shit. I like
True.
David, and it's not worth a shit.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, hey Shayla, I mean, most of those apps are just
Damn it.
they're trash. They're for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's for the inexperienced that don't know any better. And somebody wrote this app, loaded a database with words, and every now and again it's going to spit out something that may be slightly relevant to what's there.
Spirit Talker too.
Yeah. Is that an app? Yeah. I mean,
Gosh. I got all these little apps on my phone.
let's see. John Savage has the exact answer. No, the purpose of those apps is for the developer to make money. That's it.
But I like
Where the hell did my
necrophonic.
screen go? My screen just went black. Oh my God! It must be a demon.
I was about to say it must be a demon. Must be one of your spirits working in your favor going.
I'm talking shit about the apps, and I must have made a demon mad.
If I was smart enough, I'd write a ghost hunting app and load a word in that says Dennis is an asshole.
Okay, so what's stopping? Oh, never mind. I know what's stopping you. Your keyword there was if I was smart enough. Never mind.
Yeah. I'm a dumbass, so
I can't do them. Oh, shit. But yeah, like I said, Alexa sits in my living room, and whatever we're talking about in our conversations, the next time I open Amazon app or even Facebook, next thing I know, it's ad after ad after ad based on that. They're all trash.
Yeah.
Well, and Kimmy, it's not a matter of them getting rich, but if you sell 500 of that app at $10 a piece, that's $5,000 that you didn't put but $50 into.
That's true. Ronnie, is the app going to be worth it? It has to say D's nuts at least once during the night. Then I will believe it.
That's right. At least once.
At least
Either
once.
that, or I wanted at least one time during the night to go, "It's Brittany, bitch." Who's here with us? It's Brittany, bitch. Oh my God, Brittany's here. I'm so excited.
Don't make them joke.
God damn.
oh fuck.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many of those. Like, I think virtually all of the Ovilus had
Now, is that shit too?
word databases. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's a word database. Like the Ovilus X that I had 200 or 2,500 words loaded into it. And you could actually go into the app, break the app apart, kind of look at the files and everything, and you could see every word that was stored in the database. Now, there's another one, I forget the name of it, but you actually type in the questions. And you ask it a question, then somebody else types in the question, and then it will spit out an answer to you. And it's like, this thing doesn't do shit.
It sounds like Google.
Type in the question.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Ronnie said, "Leave Brittany alone,
Bitch.
bitch."
But yeah, I don't put any faith in any of those apps. I made, the puck. That's the one, Ronnie. You have to actually type in the question. It doesn't say shit or do shit just from talking to it. You have to type in the question. So
Interesting.
it's going to pull keywords from your question, I believe. Um, I am a die-hard believer in one piece of equipment, and that is one of these little bad boys right here.
Yeah.
I don't care where I am at. I don't care what the history there is. If I get relevant shit back on a voice recorder that I know I didn't speak, I can't refute that.
Right.
Um, the other night at Belle Grove, I was sitting with Martha and two guests, and I think it was Alex and Chris. And this couple came down from Maryland. They were spending the night in the bed and breakfast, Belle Grove. And they were sitting in a room in the dark, which I didn't realize they were in there. So here I go, traipsing into the room to see what I can come up with, and I'm going to investigate the room. I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I did not realize you guys were here. We'll step out, we'll go away. And they're like, well, no, 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 no. Please feel free to hang out with us, and you've got gear, we don't. We're just here. I said, yeah, I'd be happy to hang out with you and investigate. So I set up voice recording. I put half a dozen pieces of equipment out in the room, and I asked, can you tell me why you are here? And now these aren't seasoned investigators. They've done like the ghost tours, but this was legitimately their first investigation. And even they could hear the voice reply, there was fire.
Oh, wow.
Well, he had done research on the property and found out that Captain somebody, I forget who it was, had a fire years ago in early 1900s. I want to say like 1907, I think he said. Just 40 some thousand pounds of alfalfa, and this captain was burned pretty severely. And then passed away from complications from the burns, the infection and everything killed him. But to get, why are you still here? There was fire. And for non-investigators to hear that on the voice recording when they're sitting right there and they know it wasn't said, that voice recorder was more impressive, and that voice recording proved more to them that this exists than a room full of electronics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean Austin just came out with an app for iPhone called SPI. It's AI generated words. You ask a question, it searches the air for words. See, and I love Sean Austin. I think he's an absolute sweetheart. He's been to the cabin a few times, but it's an app. I don't have a negative thing to say about Sean Austin, but it's an app. So to me, it's trash. Just my opinion. And Ronnie Anderson says, 20 years into this field, my best piece of equipment is myself. And I understand you play with your favorite piece of equipment quite often.
Recorder, y'all. It's just a recorder.
Yes, sir. Dennis, one.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, but I get what he's saying, though. If you walk into a room and you just have that upset feeling all of a sudden in your stomach, you instantly get a massive headache. You instantly hear a buzzing in your ears. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, all of those things. that is a wonderful indicator that there is probably something there. So I do understand what Mr. Anderson is saying, that
Hey,
his best
Chris.
piece of equipment is himself, but at the same time, versus having just the hair on my arm stand up, getting a voice on the recorder that says, "Are we dead?" means so much more. At least I have an idea who and what is happening at that moment.
That's true.
So, Ronnie Anderson's comment: I did the old Kentucky Theater once, and a lady had the obvious session, I'm assuming obelisk session, and asked what happened to you. The word burned. Okay, so I'm assuming you're referring to an obelisk, and the fact that if that had not been said, I understand that there was so and so here died in a fire. Can you tell us what happened to you? If it hadn't been led into that line of thought where that portion of word database is going to come into play, maybe that obelisk worked a little bit. And then again, even a blind squirrel gets a nut now and again. So,
Tommy got touched at the cabin.
Ronnie Anderson. Oh, yeah.
A lot of people get touched at the cabin.
You're number one in my book too, Ronnie. None of you business to begin with. Well, you're the one that put your favorite piece of equipment was you. I just acknowledged that you said your favorite piece of equipment was you, and
his recorder.
I understand that you like to play with your favorite equipment a lot.
Recorder.
I love Ronnie. He's going to kick me in the ass next time he sees me, but I love him. Yeah, I mean, if there had been nothing that alluded to that, then, the obelisk picked something up. And I'm not saying that the obelisk and some of those pieces of equipment are valuable to an extent, but I don't bank an entire investigation on them. Who said he got touched in the cabin? So Tommy got touched in the cabin.
Yeah.
Was Ronnie Anderson around, Tommy? I am so sorry. I thought I made the rules clear to him.
Oh my.
But, yeah, Tommy, I'm not surprised that you got touched in the cabin. Many people have. It's been several. Like the first time I got physically touched out there was in the way back. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you having my back, brother. There, Ronnie. So, Mr. Anderson. I got Daryl at my back, bro. But yeah, Tommy, the cabin from time to time, man. Where were you on the property when you got touched, if you don't mind?
The basement.
Well, I mean, I got touched in the way back. Another young lady that was in my group that night, she got her ass grabbed in the way back.
The way back, where's that?
Way back.
Way back.
Oh, way back
very
in the
back
woods?
of the woods.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we name shit super, super technical. The area way back at the end of the property, we called the way back.
Okay.
The area in the middle of the woods, we named it mid woods. It's technical shit, man.
Yeah, Tommy got touched at the pink room.
Oh, Pearl.
I haven't. I think that's probably the first person I've heard talk about getting touched in the pink pearl.
Pearl.
And yes, Mr. Savage, you are right. I do hate it when I get touched way in the back.
The pink room. Was John Stevens there?
Damn it, Snowball.
We'll have to ask Snowball next week when he comes on the show and be like, hey, Snowball.
Yeah. But I don't think I have heard of anybody else saying that they've been touched in the pink pearl.
I think I
Now,
only got touched in the basement, and I got touched in the middle part of the woods one time, but it was on the elbow and on the side of the leg.
yeah, now,
I ran out the woods.
chicken shit.
I didn't like it. Sorry.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, that's what you're there for, is to
I
see if
know, but
interact.
it really caught me off guard, and it just really caught me off guard. And I did. I ended up running out of those woods. So
And
no shame on my game.
Tommy got tapped on the shoulder.
That's actually kind of cool. I guess that depends too on what was happening at that exact moment as to why they would tap you on the shoulder. Now, when I got touched in the way back portion of the woods, it was like something ran across the small of my back. I wonder what Cosmo came up with way back or midwoods. Hello, genius. That was me, bro. Kidneys. My name is Jeff.
Lord have mercy.
You're welcome, David. He's over there snorting his teeth.
Oh God.
But yeah, it's. Hi, Michelle. It is such a cool property, though. And
Hey, Michelle.
what I would love
The cabin
to
on
do.
360 is cool property, and you got an
Yeah.
event coming up because I wanted to talk a little bit about that too. You have an event coming up this Saturday because I have new people that are always looking, they want places to investigate. So I've got people on here, they're actual personal friends of mine too, and they're, they're kind of new. They like paranormal, so they're kind of new into some things. And you have an event coming up this Saturday at the cabin on 360,
We do.
which is a very reasonable event. And you still have some tickets left, or did you sell them all?
No, we still have some tickets, and I'm trying to. Well, I can't. I don't. Well, wait. Yeah, I can. What am I doing? Where am I looking?
Not to change subjects, but I just, I want you to be able to have some time to talk about that.
Yeah, by all means. By all means. So let's see. Copy link. Let's go back. And
I'm looking forward to April.
I'm trying to find. Oh, wait, there we go. Paste and send. So that should be in the chat now.
Let me see.
I think. But yeah, there it is. So this is so February 14, 1929, Al Capone's men lured in some of his competitors' men, and then a stolen police car pulled up. Two men get out. They literally executed. And this was a huge thing. It was called the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. So I want to try, obviously, we try every month to do one event in-house. So this month, I chose to do something around Valentine's Day. And the St. Valentine's Day Massacre came to mind. And I wanted to see if we can reach out to, even though it wasn't on this property, let's try to reach out to the victims of it. There were 6 men executed. Maybe the men that did this crime will reach through the veil and talk to us. So we're going to try to talk to them. What about if we could talk to Al Capone? I mean, what's it going to hurt? We know time and distance mean nothing to spirit. So
Right.
we're going to investigate the cabin.
And maybe we'll find out where he's buried.
Right. Maybe he knows where other barrels are. Who knows? But what the hell, we're always going at this location. You talk to such and such and so and so and so and so. Well, who says you're limited to just those that died on or near that property?
Right.
You're reaching through the veil. What's to stop them from coming to talk to us. So we're going to try that. In addition to, it's only $30 a ticket. We're going to go from 7 till I think it's 12 or 1 a.m. What the hell's the? Oh, well, I've already lost it. So it's, yeah, tickets are $30. It's scheduled 7 to 1 a.m. And there's still plenty of tickets available. Ticket sales this time of year or bookings this time of year are extremely difficult. So I think everybody's getting over the shock and realization of Christmas and, you know, adjusting to their new budget while they pay off credit cards from Christmas and whatnot. I don't know. But that's what we're doing.
That sounds like it'd be interesting because, I mean, people know you as an asshole in the spirit world and you're not even at the location. And I'm not making fun of that. So if they can call you an asshole or, you know, fuck him or whatever like they normally do, what's to say that they can't, Al Capone or somebody else can't come through there and talk to y'all? Because you're well known in spirit world, and hell, you're here. And, you know, like I told you before, every location I go to, I'll ask because I'm documenting to see which ones everybody knows you at, even ones you ain't even been to. So who's to say that?
Well, you know, who's to say that Bugs Moran or his 6 men that were murdered that day won't talk to us? Because there was never anybody charged in that crime. So these are, you know, 6 unsolved murders. That's, you know, 6 victims out there that, I mean, if you have unfinished business, if that's one of the reasons that you stay on this realm, I can't think of anything more unfinished than getting your ass shot up in a back alley.
Right.
So who knows, man? Maybe even Bugs Moran can come through and talk to us. But yeah, you are right. I get called an asshole even at locations I've never been.
Never been to. Yeah.
You know, and I love this story because it always cracks me up. I had not been to Ohio State Reformatory. And I had 2 gentlemen that had investigated with me. It was father and son. They had been to the cabin. They'd been to Henricus. They had been with us down to Pamplin. And then they disappeared for several months. And all of a sudden they come back. Well, I shake hands and welcome them into the cabin. I'm like, where have you guys been? They're like, well, we took a break from local stuff and we wanted to do some traveling. So we went up and we checked out Moundsville. We checked out Eastern State, and we went to Ohio State Reformatory. And then we wanted to come back here where our celebrity friends are. Oh, who's your celebrity friends? And they're like, you. No, I'm not a celebrity. I'm known, but I'm not a celebrity. And they're like, oh, trust me, the spirit world knows of you. What? They're like, well, just a month or so ago, we were at Ohio State Reformatory, and the group that we were assigned to, we're on break, and we're talking about different places that we had been, and we mentioned the cabin on 360. And one of the ladies in the group that we were with said, isn't that the place that Dennis Estlock runs? And we got an EVP at that moment that says, he's an asshole. And I'm like, really? He's like, dude, we were kind of blown away by it. He's like, I wish I had that recorder with me. I would play it for you. But yeah, Spirit at Ohio State Reformatory knows you. And I went, I've never been there.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
who's to say?
You know, so, but I think that side, they're able to have communication far advanced beyond what we are. I mean, time to them is a blink of an eye. Distance to them is covered in the blink of an eye.
Maybe is there even time there?
Yeah, there may not be. I mean, if there is, that breaks my heart.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. You know, when you time travel, there's no sense of time. And then you come back here, and it's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. You know, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if there is no sense of time on that side, that gives me a little bit of peace. But if there is a sense of time, there's a young man in the middle of Pamplin Battlefield, Pamplin Historical Park, that my heart is broken for him. I think Banchero's still in chat, but it was myself, Banchero, Christian Zwiggle from Pandora's Peregrination, and Gene Wells, my team member. We were on the walk paths at Pamplin. And in the middle of 424 acres, not far from the breakthrough line, I started voice recording and I said, "Gentlemen, do you know the war is over? You are no longer soldiers. You can go home." And what sounds like a young male voice right beside me, loud on the recorder, you hear a voice that says, "Are we dead?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, this poor kid is standing here 165 years or whatever later, doesn't even realize he's dead, and he's still on post. So I hope there is no sense of time on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's sad. Very sad.
Well, so Ronnie Anderson says, I've never time traveled. So I don't, Geri, define what you meant when you said when you've time traveled. Did you mean more like
travel, when you're astral
projection?
travel, right? Okay. There's no sense of time. You go to different places and there's no time there. You don't feel stressed or worried about anything. It's like there's just no sense of time. And then you come back here and you're like, oh shit, you know you're back in time. It's hard to explain, but there's just no sense of time there.
Yeah.
You're visiting with a relative. I mean, there's been times when I've traveled up and visited with relatives and we're having a good time. There's like no time limit. It's different.
Yeah. I've done a lot of remote views. I don't know that I've actually astral traveled. I guess to an extent they're kind of the same thing. But yeah, you're right. I will come, for lack of better terms, I'll come out of my remote view and not realize how much time has passed. It's actually cool.
Right.
Okay, need to back up a few steps here because you're talking about stuff and it just brought up a question in my mind.
You don't have to be gifted for that, Ronnie Anderson. You just have to really get into a meditative state and focus right there, right at the third eye. It's not something that a person has to be gifted to do, Dennis. So I want to learn remote viewing from Dennis. He doesn't know that, but yeah, that's one of my, that's what I want to do. I want to be, I can do it, but I want to get better at it. So it's not gift. It's not, to me, it's not somebody that's gifted. It's a matter of practicing and, just quieting your mind and practicing. So don't ever think you need a gift.
I don't know if Martha is in the chat or not. I don't know if she has tuned in to this podcast, but anyway, so I had a friend that I felt was probably capable of doing remote views, and this person was like, "Oh, I don't have any kind of gift. I don't have any abilities. Blah 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 blah." And I said, "I'll tell you what. Give me a pen and paper, and sit your ass down. We're going to take 10 minutes." And I gave a bunch of numbers. And I said, I need you to write down anything you see, hear, smell, or feel associated to these. Focus on these numbers and tell me anything you see, hear, feel, smell, taste, anything. Just whatever comes into your mind, whatever images you get, whatever thoughts you have, write it down. And I did this with 3 separate sets of numbers. And what I was doing was giving her a target. I had her write down latitude and longitude for locations, known locations. But, nobody knows latitude and longitude to their own fucking home address, let alone to a random place.
Right.
Out of 3, she nailed 2 with pretty significant and correct information for those 2 locations. And it wasn't that, I I think it requires a gift to be able to do it, because you have to be able to put
I
yourself
don't.
strictly in here. You have to be able to listen. You have to be able to shut down enough to do that. That requires a bit of a gift, in my opinion. Most
See,
people can't,
I'm
most
sorry.
people can't quiet down everything in here long enough to do it.
Right. Right.
So it requires that ability and that control to do that. But
Right.
out of the 3 locations that I gave her, she was pretty damn point on with at least 3 items describing those locations on 2 of them out of 3. So I do think it can be done. You just have to understand how to tap that portion of the brain. Now,
Right.
years ago, I was friends with a gentleman named David and his girlfriend, Tracy, at the time. She is a very strong psychic medium. And David Roundtree had bought a brain scan device, and I forget, MR, fuck. Anyway, he would hook her up on this thing to monitor brain frequencies and brain activity. And then when she would go into doing a mediumship connection, he would see part open up and become active that hadn't been before. That on most people, it's not active.
EEG.
EEG, yes, thank you. Electroencephalogram. But there was a portion of the brain that wasn't active until she went into doing a mediumship reading. And then that portion of the brain would fire up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's theory, and science tells us that we only use 10% of our brain's capacity. Which I think if we could open up even more and more of the brain capacity beyond that just 10%,
Right.
and come out of the democratic side, I mean the dumb side of things, and use more than 10%. Think what we could do if we could use 20 or 30% of our brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I still think that all that takes practice. I mean,
Oh, it does. The
I
brain
don't.
is a muscle like anything else on your
Right.
body that is a muscle. It takes practice, and you have to learn how to do it, and you have to
Right.
practice. So the easiest way to practice is, like, if you want to practice solo, or even if not, if I tell you, so last week I went to this place, just from that part, you take that place. What was that place? Where was that place? What's significant about that place? Like one of the, and I have to say it because it left them dumbfounded. Lyle and Tana Lots, when I had my podcast years ago, I had interviewed them like 3 different times. And I finally got to meet them at Boxwood Inn. And it was the first time that we had met face to face, and we stood there and shot the shit for a little bit. And he goes, "Well, listen, we got an investigation coming up in just a couple of weeks." And I went, "Shh." And I start rattling off all this stuff. What spirits were there, where they were, what the house looked like, how the house was laid out, all these things about the property. And he's like, "How the hell did you do that?" And I said, I just focused on, you said we have an investigation coming. I just focused. And that's everything that started coming to me. And he's like, "All right, you have to go with us. You have to get validation on what you just told us. We investigated it once before, and everything that you have just told us, I can back up."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "That's just fucking amazing that you could do that."
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool as shit. I don't know that it's amazing, but I think it's cool as shit. But it was funny. I do remember, like, the spirit that stood out the most to me in my head kept telling me his name was Doc. I'm Doc. I'm Doc. And as I entered his room, he charged me from the fireplace across the room. "Get out, fucker." No. And I mean, he reeked of liquor. And I told Lyle that he reeked of liquor, and he told the homeowner that I did not realize was 4th generation homeowner. And no, Ronnie, it wasn't the Avenel. This was a place called Mount Eagle Farms. in Albemarle County, just down the road from Thomas Jefferson's Monticello. Beautiful place. Sits way back off the roadway. But the owner, Debbie, asked me, so the man that you said reeked of alcohol and said he was a doctor, what did he look like? And I said, well, I told Lyle what I saw, what he looked like. And she's like, if I show you a portrait, can you tell me if that's the guy? I said, well, go by the description that I gave and you look at the portrait. You tell me if that's who I described. And she's like, wait right here. She goes and she comes back and it was literally one of these. Is this the guy? I'm like, fuck, shove the picture through my face, why don't you? All right, yeah, that's the guy that said he's doc, but he's not a fucking doctor. He's just a drunk. And she's like, yeah, that's my great grandfather. I went, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, yeah, and he wasn't a doctor, but that was his nickname. And I knew exactly who you were talking about when you said he was a drunk and reeked of liquor. My grandfather drank so much that if he ran out of alcohol in the house, he would drink aftershave. Oh, fucking gross. But that was probably one of the coolest remote views that I've done. It was pretty fascinating. So
what was your? Go ahead. Sorry.
now, and I mean, I've done numerous other ones. I did one for John Harris, RVA Paranormal, that just blew his mind. I find it interesting, but at the same time, I'm like, why can I do that? I'm not a very bright man. I never really considered myself gifted, but I never looked at what I was able to do from the time I was a child as a gift. It just was a fucking weird thing that I did.
Right.
So,
I'm sorry. Yeah, what was your question? Flowers.
Oh,
You did have a question before I rudely interrupted you.
I'm used to that. No, when you were talking earlier about possibly talking with the 6 men that were executed, Al Capone and all that other stuff, how, I don't know if how is the right word, but
how will I know if I have reached them?
yeah, what makes, how would they know you're trying to talk to them?
Well, I think it's kind of just putting out to the universe that these are the people I want to speak with. Now, through research, I can have their names. And I think there's kind of a bullhorn, so to speak, to that side. Like when I do a mediumship reading for somebody and I want their loved one to come forward, I will ask for this person's loved ones to come forward. I don't know their name until they come forward and they give me their name, if they give me their name. But at the same time, if I come up to you on the street and I said, hey, Dave, why don't you tell me about your sister? What's her name? And you're going, who the fuck are you and why should I tell you about my sister?
Right.
So sometimes that's the response you get is,
right.
Fuck you, I don't know you.
Yeah, strange.
But at the same time, if I go, hey, Dave, do me a favor. Your sister wants me to talk to you. Keep in mind, you're on the other side. Your sister wants me to talk to you. So I turn to your sister and I go, all right, the first thing I need you to do is just subconsciously to the universe and to your loved ones, tell them it's okay to talk to him. You can tell him my deepest, darkest secrets and I'm okay with it. But I need you to talk to him because I have questions and I need some closure from you. So then I turn around and I go, hey, would Susie's loved ones come forward and talk to me, please? Susie has said it's okay that I talk to you. And she said it's okay that you give me whatever information you're comfortable giving me. She doesn't care what you tell me. And that's generally how I start getting contact.
Mhm.
Now, on occasion, and I did this for a young lady out of Canada, she messaged me on Facebook and says, "Hey, can you really talk to loved ones from the other side?" And instantly, this young man presented himself, let me know what he died of, the way it felt, showed me himself in his death state, which was a burn victim, and it felt like my whole body was on fire. He jumped at the chance. As soon as she put into the keyboard that she wanted to talk to someone on the other side, he was like, I am going to be the one. I'm going to talk to her. I didn't even have to ask for him. He came forward. I think they know before we know.
Yeah. And stuff like that, I don't understand, but I understand what you're saying. But that is somebody coming to you, or you're talking to somebody and you're talking to their loved ones. But my question is how, like, you have no clue. You, the those six people that are executed, they don't know you from Adam.
Mm-mm.
Their loved ones don't know you from Adam.
Mm-mm.
Just call them forward.
And then there's a certain person out there, I'm not going to mention any names, who likes talking to recently deceased celebrities.
Who's to say he's not? And I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Like I
But
said,
who's to
I'm
say he's
not.
not? Now,
Yeah.
I think he does it for sensationalism, and I think he
Mhm.
does it because he's a bit of an asshole and he just wants to make a name. Okay, we all do something to make a name. Whether you're an asshole about it or not, it is what it is. But so let's take a hypothetical again. David, you're on the other side. You were
Mhm.
executed. And I sit down and I go, listen, I understand, David, you were in that back alley and we suspect Al Capone's men murdered you. And now you're over on that side and you're going, this motherfucker said my name. Now I've already got your attention because I've called you by name. Now you have two options. One, you can step forward and talk to me, or two, you can ignore me. But once I say your name on that side, like I said, I think it's a bullhorn to the other side. It's David Flowers. And it goes, remember when you were a kid and mom yelled out the front door, David, get your ass home. And every kid down the block would call you.
Okay.
I think that's how that side works.
Okay.
I mean, to an extent, because nobody on that side, well, I can't say nobody on that side is unreachable because there are some that just, they're gone. But I think in this case, here are 7 men that I don't know what they had for family or kids or wife or whatever, but they're in a back alley just flat ass executed by 2 assholes with Tommy guns, just shredded them. And I mean, if I was going to be shredded that way, I would want my story heard. And especially if I'm on that side going, that fucking Capone sent his clowns, set me up, lured me there under false pretenses, and executed me. I'm not going anywhere. I now have a shitload of unfinished business. If I get a chance at some point in time that I can get my story told, I'm going to come back and do it. Not instant, Ronnie, no. If that loved one on the other side wants to come forward, let's take you for example. Hypothetical, your uncle wants to get a message to you, and you go, "Hey, Dennis, can you make a connection for me?" And your uncle's standing there already going, "I want to make a connection to him, but I don't know how." Oh fuck, he can do it. I've got a connection right there. Now uncle is jumping at me to tell me information. sometimes I have to ask you to tell them that it's okay to talk to me. It it really depends. Sometimes the loved one will jump at me before I even know that there's information that needs to be shared. One of the funniest ones I ever encountered. I'm coming home from New York seeing my daughter. 2 in the morning. I'm exhausted. My fuel light's on. My bladder's full. My coffee's empty, and my cigarettes are gone. I'm like, the first thing I am going to do at a gas station before I'm in the middle of nowhere at 2 in the morning. I'll get to your answer in a moment, Daryl. But I pull in the first gas station. It's a Shell station. As I walk in the door, I see the young man over at the clerk station, and instantly I see this little woman standing behind him, and she does one of these and looks out, and I'm like, oh fuck, please don't let her know, please don't let her know. And I got that look. I'm like, oh fuck, she knows I see her, she knows I can do this. I'm going to ignore her. I'm going to go get my coffee. I'm going to ignore her. Oh God, please don't let her oh fuck. She is now following me through the store telling me, you have to tell him, you're my only chance for him to understand, you have to tell him. I'm like, ma'am, I'm exhausted. Please don't make me do this. It's 2 in the morning. I'm exhausted. I really don't want to do this. Well, I get up to the cashier station. I pay for my coffee. I pay for my cigarettes and gas. And she is standing beside him going, and this is a little older, probably 75-year-old, tiny little black woman. And we've all seen them. You have to tell him. You have to tell him. You're my last chance. You have to tell him. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. Fine. I will tell him if it will get you to leave me alone. So, young man, I've got some strange information for you, but here we go. Grandma says that she is very proud of you for making Dean's List last semester. Well, semester before last, because you took last semester off. She says she didn't pay for this shit for you not to go to school. You got the book out last week. You set it on the coffee table. You looked through it and you put it back down. Get your ass back to class. You're not taking another semester off. That debate is over with. I've seen people like this on TV, but I didn't know you guys.
Hey, Sully.
Hey, Sully. And I'm like, well, Grandma's pretty adamant that she wants you to go back to school. And he's like, I was looking at the calendar, the class book last week, and I debated if I was going to take another semester off or not. And I guess I'm not. Grandma paid for school, and I guess I'm going back this semester. Can you do me a favor and tell her I said thank you for everything? And at this point, I see her reach up and put her hand on his shoulder, and his eyes got about that flipping big, and he snaps his head to the side. And I just looked at him and smiled. You felt that, didn't you? He goes, what the hell was that? I said, that's Grandma. She just put her hand on your shoulder. You felt it. And I don't need to tell her thank you. You just did. She can hear you. Now, get your ass back to school. Go make president's list. Good luck. And I looked past him and I went, we good? And she's like, God bless you, son. I appreciate that so much. You were my last chance to tell it. So how long this poor woman had waited to be able to tell him these things, I don't know. But she bared her world to me to pass on to him. And it wasn't that he asked for it. It wasn't that I asked her to come forward. She was there waiting on that opportunity. So Ronnie, sometimes you're sometime in the future, whether it's me or another medium, they may walk up to you and go, let me tell you a couple of things. And they're going to make a connection to a loved one for you. And it's going to leave you A, jaw hanging open, B, probably tears in your eyes. And then you're going to have one of two things that you're going to debate. Do I tell this person to get your crazy ass away from me, or do I hug them for telling me things that I wanted to know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be that way. It's not going to be it's not like you're waiting on a bus to come up and there's a schedule for it. It's going to be when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Now, Daryl, to answer your question, how do you know you have the right person on the other side or an imposter? I ask them for a true ID. Um, the true ID, like the federal government has started making us get for air travel and everything else. That's the best way to know. I'm kidding. There's no fucking way to know. It could be anybody on that side just fucking with us. But here's the other thought. If I'm asking questions pertinent only to the people that I'm trying to reach,
Right.
what are the odds that just another random spirit's going to have those answers?
Wow.
No matter where we're at, no matter what investigation we're doing, Daryl, if I come out to the village and you say, okay, well, in the church, we know we have ... How do you know?
Right.
How do you know who you're talking to? You don't. You just hope, and you go on the hope and expectation that this is who you're talking to, but you don't know for sure. It's not like you can ask them for the real ID.
Right.
So,
This is true.
and that goes for, all these theories of, oh, maybe it's a demon that's just presenting itself as a child. Fucking maybe. It's going to get kicked in the nuts in the long run because I'm going to bathe it in enough holy water and burn enough sage to set off the neighbor's smoke detectors. But we'll play for a little while. There's no guarantees in any of this.
Nope. Never know.
And there's no guarantees that you're going to make a connection to the other side.
Nope.
I can ask and ask and ask and ask. What if they just don't want to talk to me?
Right.
What if, Uncle John was just an asshole and doesn't care to tell you he's sorry, or doesn't care to tell you where he hid his ball mason jars full of gold coins? He just ain't going to tell me. But if they want me to know, or they want you to know, they'll find somebody like me or someone like Geri, and they'll share that information. And those are the moments that you're going to get just the air coming off of the feather will knock you over. You don't need the feather. A lot of people say that the TV psychics are all bullshit. I will tell you right now, without a shadow of a doubt, Lori Johnson from the Ghost of Shepherdstown absolutely floored me, left me flabbergasted. I need to get out a thesaurus to figure out how many different fucking words I can use for dumbstruck I was when we were done. She described 5 of my family members, named 3 of them, described them to a T. When I was 16, my brother was 20. He took his own life. She described him to a T, said that, so this young man tells me to tell you hi. And I laughed, and I kind of went, tell him I said hi, bud. And she goes, oh, okay. So he says hi and called me by my childhood nickname. That nearly 30 years into the relationship and marriage of 25 years with my wife, she still doesn't know that childhood nickname. But Lori Johnson, who I had never spoken to before that day, called me that nickname. Told me that my grandmother, who used to talk to spirit, was grateful that I took the gift that she gave me and used it to help people. You can't get facts like that from somebody that's bullshit.
Right. That's right.
We all have that childhood nickname that nobody knows. Only a few people from our childhood know it. I promise you, I do not know this woman from my fucking childhood. But when she called me that nickname, the breeze coming off a small feather could have blown me over. So, but Nobody else that I had talked to up to that point had been able to. You're very hard to read. It's like you have shields up and nobody can get through you. She did it with ease. Like I said, she named or described 5 of my family members and named 3 of them like it was nothing. The one that cracked me up the most, if you can't tell, I have a little bit of not an ego, but I'm very proud of who I am and where I come from. That name right there, that badge right there, is because my father was law enforcement. That tag right there is a Vietnam veteran's license plate. My father was Vietnam veteran. When he died, he gave me one thing of high value, and that was my name. He gave it to me untarnished, and I anticipate to pass it to my children in the same condition, untarnished. So if you want to say I have an ego, that's fine. But my father had a little bit of an ego, um, a lot. So when he presented himself to Lori Johnson, um, I hear her laugh, and she goes, "This has never happened to me before." But I've got a gentleman that just presented himself, and he has a theme song. Is what? He has a theme song. She described my father to a fucking T. Like you could draw this picture and it would be my father. And I said, "So he has a theme song?" And she's like, "Yep." Duke of Earl. When he first presented himself, that song started playing. He has a theme song. You know that song, right? Duke, Duke, Duke of Earl, Duke. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, I know the song." She's like, "Yeah, I've never had spirit that had a theme song before." And I went, "That would be my father." John Wayne was his favorite actor. Um, my entire life, my mother called him Duke. Um, so yeah, I'm not surprised in the least that he would have a theme song at this point. So you know, and I didn't ask for them to come forward. She didn't ask for them to come forward. We were talking about the cabin and the oddities that are at the cabin, and just all of a sudden, all of this happened. So Ronnie, do I get an instant connection with a person living to be able to connect with a past family member? Not always. Um, there are so many people that I've been in the presence of that are gifted. And I'm a great psychic medium, and I charge $60 an hour and all this other bullshit. And not a fucking one of them can do what she did. So I think it's a matter of spirit has to feel comfortable coming forward, and it has to be the right time for you. If you're in a weak um, frame of mind at that point in time, I think spirit feels, okay, this would be either a good time to step in and bolster him, or it's a good time to step back and leave him the fuck alone and let him get himself straightened out. If I know that you are having a very bad day, I am not going to call you and go, "Hey, Ronnie, I just want you to know," and drop a bombshell on you.
All right.
Not as a loved one. That's not what we do.
Nope.
As a loved one, we try to build each other up. We try to show support for one another. So family is going to come forward when it's the best time for you to hear what they have to say. And that's just my belief on it.
Yep. This is true.
Now, when you talk about a location and the spirits that are there, when I do remote views and spirit steps up, generally spirit will step up not because it's the best time for me to interact with them, but because it is their opportunity to be recognized, I guess. And, all of us want recognition. There are many times where um, once they get recognition, they just disappear. You know,
Right.
the knocks and bangs and the windows closing and the tea kettle falling off the stove stops. So I don't know. I'm not on that side, so I don't have all the answers, but I anticipate getting there one day.
Not soon.
Not soon. Not soon. But I do have a question. I saw a post, and maybe some of the folks that are listening, how many viewers have you got now?
I got six. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe one of them can answer this. I saw a post from the Wraith Chasers. Join us at the Exchange Hotel for one last hoorah. Anybody know what's going on with the Exchange Hotel?
Nope.
I mean, if it's under new owners or if they're closing the doors or whatever, I've got to get up there and get my fucking great-grandfather's sword back because it's been on display at their property for the past 10 years. I have a 1863 stamped Confederate artillery sword that's been in their arms room for several years.
Oh gosh, you better go get that.
Yeah.
Whether they're closing or not.
Yeah. I have a feeling that I can open the door. They may not like how, but I know I can.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd go get that.
But good God, it's been an hour and a half already.
Yes.
But
yeah.
Any further questions, Dave?
No. You answered my questions.
Ms. Geri, any further questions?
No, asshole. None.
David.
Yeah.
Did you hear what the fuck she just said to me?
I
said,
Typical fucking teenager is over there looking at his phone, not paying attention to anything that's around him.
I'm looking up the Exchange Hotel, see if they got anything posted that they're closing or whatever.
Okay, I'll forgive you then. I tried to look at their Facebook page and couldn't find one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, go get your shit.
Yeah, but Mike and Chris are returning. What is their date?
It was I was under the impression that it was closing for good, but don't quote me, Daryl says.
Well, there we go. So
you better go make road trip tomorrow.
Yeah. Road. Well, I don't know about tomorrow.
I wouldn't be procrastinating.
Yeah, I don't think that's one I'm going to postpone very long.
Nope. Because then what are they going to do with all that stuff?
Yeah.
Website damn sure ain't updated. His upcoming event, Friday, October 20th, 2023, Public Ghost Hunt.
Wow. Yeah. So
road trip.
Maybe that's an indicator as to why they're closing. Or I don't know. My understanding is there was a ton of money that was raised that disappeared. Now that's been many years ago, but But I will tell you this, the Exchange Hotel was one of the coolest places I've been to investigate. It was definitely active. So I'm going to do a shameless plug here.
War Legacy U.S. Civil War.
Yeah, jump on Amazon and find these. They're pretty damn cool. And they are flashcards about the Civil War.
Oh, nice.
Now that's a fairly thick stack.
That would be interesting. Cards. Yeah, that would be interesting. Trigger objects.
See, I'm going to
trigger questions.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of depends on where you're at as to whether there's something in here that may work. All right, so here's Second Battle of Bull Run. So here's what the face of the card looks like.
Yeah.
So it gives you a kind of cool image. Getting this camera to focus is a bit of a bitch.
There you go.
And then on the back side, it gives you some pertinent details.
That's cool.
Location,
Yeah.
Manassas, Virginia. Notable figures. General John Pope, General Robert Lee. So they're kind of cool. I think it was like $12, but I
What's
thought
the
it would
name
be
of it? Sorry. I'm trying to
Here.
look it up. War Legacy. Okay. War. That's
And
right.
I don't know if they have other stuff from this same company, but then you get back into and it gives you various events like South Carolina secedes, and it gives you some particulars about those. Emancipation Proclamation gives you particulars about that. And then there's another portion of the deck that is all significant people. Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, William T. Sherman, George McClellan.
Okay, I got them.
So I don't know how many cards are in total. 75 flashcards. Yeah. See, look, 75 flashcards. So it was kind of cool. I picked it up because it was fairly cheap on Amazon, and I went, you know what? That might be neat just to play with.
Yeah, that is neat. Who knew?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, I got them from Amazon. I think they were like 12 or 14 bucks. Like I don't remember. I spend so
These
much
are
money.
9, but with shipping, I'm sure, or yeah, with tax, it's 10.52.
Yeah, well, I've got Amazon Prime, so I don't have to pay shipping. But yeah, there you go, Daryl. You may find something that's very close to your location.
Cool.
I just thought the cards were cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Well,
But
you guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but I'm going to depart, leave your
Okay.
show, leave you two alone. I have to go potty, and I need a cigarette.
Yes, we are getting off as well because it's late.
Yeah, I gotta get up at 5:30.
Damn. Sucks to be you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That sounds like a David problem more than a Dennis problem. Hey, guys, it was a pleasure talking to you again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
No
Y'all don't
problem.
forget about Dennis's event this coming up Saturday. There's still tickets available, so reach out to him or reach out to the Cabin on 360. Shoot him a message. He's got that event posted if anybody's interested in going. Seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Daryl and Sully and Ronnie and Shayla, and I'm not sure who else was in here, but thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the questions. I thought it was fun. I don't normally get to just bullshit about myself. But y'all have a blessed night. I hope
You
to see you
too.
You
soon.
too.
Good night, everybody. Join us
We'll
next
see ya.
week for John
Snowball.
Sullivan. Good
John
night.
Stevens.
Yeah,
Good
John
night.
Stevens.
Good night, you guys.